The current conflict between Iran and Israel is rooted in a long and complex history, one that spans decades and is marked by significant geopolitical shifts and ideological battles. To understand the present, we must first delve into the past, exploring the events and decisions that have shaped the relationship between these two nations. The relationship between these two nations has been fraught with tension since the Islamic Revolution in Iran in 1979, a pivotal moment that dramatically altered the political landscape of the Middle East. The revolution led to the establishment of an Islamic Republic, fundamentally altering the regional dynamics and setting the stage for a new era of conflict and rivalry. Prior to the revolution, Iran, under the Shah, had enjoyed close ties with Israel, with both nations cooperating on various economic and military fronts. However, the new Islamic government, under Ayatollah Khomeini, adopted a staunchly anti-Israel stance, viewing the Jewish state as a symbol of Western imperialism and oppression. This ideological shift had profound consequences not only for Iran and Israel, but for the entire region. It laid the groundwork for decades of mistrust and hostility, creating a volatile environment that has persisted to this day. Adding fuel to the fire was the issue of Palestine, a deeply contentious topic that has long been a flashpoint in Middle Eastern politics. Iran's revolutionary government vehemently opposed Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories, viewing it as an affront to Islamic solidarity and justice. It viewed Israel as an illegitimate state and pledged unwavering support for Palestinian liberation movements, further entrenching its opposition to Israel. This support became a cornerstone of Iran's foreign policy in the Middle East, influencing its alliance and enmities across the region. Over the years, numerous flashpoints have exacerbated tensions, each incident adding another layer of complexity to the already fraught relationship. These include Iran's nuclear program, which Israel views as an existential threat, fearing that a nuclear-armed Iran could destabilize the entire region, and its support for groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza, both of which have been involved in numerous conflicts with Israel. These groups have engaged in numerous armed conflicts with Israel, further entangling the two nations in a cycle of violence and retribution that shows no signs of abating. The conflict between Iran and Israel is not a straightforward bilateral affair. It is deeply rooted in historical, religious and geopolitical factors that have evolved over decades. It involves a complex web of actors, each with its own objectives and motivations. These actors include not only nation-states, but also non-state entities, regional powers, and international stakeholders. Understanding these players is crucial to grasping the intricacies of the conflict and potential paths to resolution. Analysts and scholars often emphasize the importance of considering the broader regional dynamics and historical context. At the heart of the conflict are, of course, Iran and Israel. Their enmity is fueled by ideological differences, strategic interests, and mutual distrust. Israel, a regional military power, views Iran as its primary adversary. This perception is driven by Iran's rhetoric and actions, which Israel interprets as direct threats to its existence. Its concerns stem from Iran's nuclear ambitions, ballistic missile program, and support for anti-Israel militant groups. These elements are seen as existential threats that could destabilize the region. Israel seeks to contain Iranian influence in the region and prevent Tehran from acquiring nuclear weapons. This objective has led to numerous military operations and intelligence efforts aimed at curbing Iran's capabilities. Iran, on the other hand, perceives Israel as an illegitimate entity and a threat to its security. This perception is rooted in both ideological beliefs and strategic calculations. It justifies its support for groups like Hezbollah as a form of resistance against Israeli aggression. This support is part of a broader strategy to project power and influence in the region. Additionally, Iran sees itself as a champion of the Palestinian cause and opposes Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. This stance garners Iran significant support among various Arab and Muslim communities. Hezbollah, a powerful Shia Islamist political party and militant group based in Lebanon, plays a pivotal role in this conflict. Its actions and policies are heavily influenced by Iranian support and directives. Backed by Iran, Hezbollah has considerable military capabilities and has fought numerous wars against Israel. Its presence in Lebanon and its military activities are significant factors in the ongoing tension. It serves as a critical element of Iran's regional strategy, acting as a proxy force against Israel. This relationship underscores the broader geopolitical struggle for influence and power in the Middle East. Beyond the geopolitical chessboard, the human cost of the Iran-Israel conflict is both tragic and undeniable. Innocent civilians in both Israel and Lebanon have borne the brunt of the violence, enduring immense suffering and displacement. In Israel, rocket attacks launched by Hezbollah from Lebanon have instilled fear and disrupted daily life. While Israel's Iron Dome defense system has intercepted many of these rockets, some have tragically hit their targets, resulting in civilian casualties and damage to infrastructure. The constant threat of attack takes a heavy psychological toll on Israeli citizens, particularly children. Lebanon, situated on the front lines of this conflict, has suffered even greater devastation. Israeli airstrikes and artillery fire have targeted Hezbollah positions, but the impact on civilian areas has been unavoidable. Hospitals, schools, and residential neighborhoods have been damaged or destroyed, leaving countless Lebanese families homeless and without access to basic necessities. The conflict has also exacerbated existing economic and social vulnerabilities in Lebanon, a country already grappling with political instability and a refugee crisis. The destruction of infrastructure further cripples the economy, making it even harder for ordinary Lebanese to rebuild their lives. Section 4. A global stage, geopolitical implications, and the roles of world powers. In this section, we delve into the intricate web of international relations and the significant roles played by world powers in shaping the geopolitical landscape. The Iran-Israel conflict is not confined to the Middle East. It has far-reaching geopolitical implications, drawing in global powers and influencing international relations. This conflict serves as a focal point for broader regional and global dynamics, affecting policies and alliances far beyond its immediate borders. The involvement of these external actors adds layers of complexity to an already volatile situation. Each power brings its own interests, strategies, and historical ties, making the conflict a multifaceted issue that requires careful navigation. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, plays a significant role in the conflict. Its unwavering support for Israel is rooted in a long-standing strategic partnership that encompasses military, economic, and political dimensions. It provides Israel with substantial military and financial aid, and its diplomatic support emboldens Israel's stance against Iran. This support is not just about defense, it also includes intelligence sharing, joint military exercises, and technological cooperation. However, the United States also recognizes the need to prevent a wider regional war and has at times engaged in diplomatic efforts to restrain both sides. These efforts include brokering peace talks, imposing sanctions, and leveraging its influence to de-escalate tensions. Russia, another key player, has complex relationships with both Iran and Israel. Its involvement in the region is driven by a mix of strategic interests, historical ties, and geopolitical ambitions. While it cooperates with Iran in Syria and opposes US sanctions on Tehran, it also maintains pragmatic ties with Israel. This balancing act allows Russia to position itself as a central power broker in the region. Russia's primary interest lies in maintaining stability in the region and expanding its own influence. By playing both sides, it seeks to enhance its strategic foothold and project power on the global stage. China, a rising global power, is increasingly engaged in the Middle East, driven primarily by its energy needs and economic interests. Its Belt and Road Initiative has led to significant investments in the region, further entrenching its presence. While it has traditionally maintained a neutral stance in the Iran-Israel conflict, China's growing ties with Iran and its opposition to US unilateralism could lead to a more assertive role in the future. As China continues to expand its influence, Its actions will be closely watched by other global powers and regional actors alike. Section 5. The struggle for peace, diplomatic efforts, and the challenges of a ceasefire. Despite the deep animosity and seemingly intractable nature of the conflict, diplomatic efforts to secure a ceasefire and find a lasting solution persist. These efforts, though often met with setbacks, remain crucial to preventing further bloodshed and alleviating the suffering of civilians. International organizations, such as the United Nations, have played a role in mediating between the warring parties. The UN Security Council, tasked with maintaining international peace and security, has convened emergency meetings and issued resolutions calling for a cessation of hostilities. However, its effectiveness is often hampered by divisions among its permanent members. Regional actors such as Egypt and Qatar have also engaged in shuttle diplomacy, trying to bridge the divide between Israel and Iran. These countries, acutely aware of the devastating consequences of a wider conflict, have leverage with both sides and can potentially play a constructive role in facilitating dialogue. However, the path to peace faces formidable obstacles. Deep mistrust, conflicting narratives, and the absence of direct communication channels between Israel and Iran make negotiations extremely challenging. Moreover, the involvement of non-state actors like Hezbollah adds another layer of complexity.